Hello and welcome back to New World. So we are diving away from Skyrim content. I honestly think with these 3 months left that Starfield will be coming out, it's time to just dive in on Starfield and talk a lot more. Excuse the echo if it does have an echo. I've just moved into my new place, so I don't want it to be a crazy echo or anything. That will be changed later. I also do want to incorporate some face cam. I just purchased a Sony a7S III, so I'm gonna go ahead and deck the gaming room out and just really hope that you guys accept me and accept the content that's about to come out. We're here to talk about Starfield and why I think Starfield might be the best game ever made. Yes, that is a very bold take, but this is my reasoning and I'm going to explain it very thoroughly throughout this video. So if you do enjoy the content that I do give out, if you like this kind of new like talking videos, I'm going to have head talking videos as well to go ahead and just give you guys a more inside scoop of who I am and my thoughts about games and gaming. Skyrim did amazing for my channel, but it takes 3 months to advertise a game and market a game. It's going to take 3 months for me to market and build up New World in order for us to have that audience once the game comes out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with the pros. For one, it's the biggest map ever for Bethesda. There is a lot of dialogue, the customization, and number 4, the modding community. So let's go ahead and talk about number 1, which is the biggest map ever for Bethesda. Yes, we have over 1,000 planets to explore. It might be a very good thing, it might be a very bad thing, but we're talking about the pros here, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So first off, with having the biggest map ever, I honestly think the exploration is going to be insane. The immersion is going to be on an interstellar type level. It is very cool to be able to create a character, have your own ship, dive in the story, but then on top of that, not limit you to one area, but plenty of areas to explore, build bases, and the cool thing about it is procedural generation. Now, if you don't know what procedural generation is, it's basically you're able to have this Earth-sized environment that is completely just generated. Now, one thing I do hope is procedural generation going to be this thing where it's not the same on all consoles. If it is the same, that also goes into the customization part, which means that the modding community can really fill in the gaps of where it might lack. And with it being the biggest map ever for Bethesda, I do want to say I have been seeing the gameplays and there does seem like there is a lot of space. There's a lot of empty space. That's a good and a bad thing to explore and build. Was that just for certain environments? Was that just for the area? Are bandits and the Crimson Fleet and the antagonists of the game, was that just a small part of the game where we just kind of saw? Do they kind of spread out throughout the planet? Are we going to have planets where it's huge and it's so huge everything is filled up? That's what my biggest fear is when it comes to Starfield. Honestly, it's the fact that it might be a game where either it's a huge map and not a lot, or it's a lot and then you can explore after and it's a lot of nothing. I do honestly think, and I hope, Starfield could have full detailed planets, and then after that you're able to explore outside of those super dense areas and kind of semi-dense areas to make the game feel a lot more immersive. I wonder what that's going to be like. This is a very ambitious game. So if we can land on Mars, and Mars is the size of GTA and it has the levels of GTA, or is it going to be Mars and it's going to be as big as Skyrim? Is that going to be for each planet? I know they have several planets that suit to the story, and then those other 1,000 are procedurally generated. So I do hope those procedural generations are centered towards everybody's game, so that way the more and more that we're able to explore and add mods into the game, that those procedurally generated planets can be filled and not be so spaced out. The next thing is Starfield has the most dialogue out of any Bethesda game that has been created, double than Skyrim. So that is very interesting. Double than Fallout 4, which had a voiced character that you can use. So it's very interesting to see what can come out of that, because to me, I honestly think it's going to be very dense storytelling. I think the storytelling is going to be out of this world. Honestly, I think the storytelling is going to be spectacular, really putting you inside of the kind of mind that Starfield wants to give you, where it's like, is this going to be a game where you can question reality and live in whatever reality that they want you to be in this game? Are the conversations going to be more immersive? That's what I hope, and that's what I think. With so much dialogue, the conversations might just be super duper immersive, where you're able to just really talk to anybody and to be able to be believable as a normal person inside of Starfield. The player is not voiced, so that also adds a complete pro to Starfield and why it might be the greatest game ever made, because without having a voiced protagonist, you're able to really immerse yourself in your responses to where it's like, okay, I can respond this way and they're not saying something totally different. But if I just click a button on the responses and the character that I'm talking to's responses makes you think, that's kind of what makes me interested in the game a lot more. Because with so much dialogue, does that mean each and every character has such a dense story? Are the storylines going to be super long? It's very interesting because a lot of dialogue does say a lot about a game and the possibilities of filling in that gap of nothingness, really, where you can have very robotic conversations like Skyrim, where it's good enough but then it stops. A lot of dialogue also means tons of NPCs. Because of so many NPCs, I do think that will really make the game great. With a lot of NPCs and a lot more people being able to be talked to, like it is in Skyrim sometimes, where in Skyrim you can, talk to a person, they might have something to say, but then later on they fill in the dialogue. I always thought that was cool. With so much dialogue, do we get to just talk to everyone and ask them questions, or is each NPC a part of figuring out the story? Do you have to talk to certain NPCs? I do wonder what that is like. Another thing that I've seen is the customization. The customization seems insane. They have space building, they have character customization, and as Todd Howard said, it's going to be his most flexible yet, which shows a lot and tells a lot about Starfield, mainly because if Todd Howard says it's the most flexible yet, then it's got to be something very interesting and very cool to look forward to. As I seen inside of the trailers, the players that you create, none of them look the same in each different character that they were showing, which shows me the character creation might be super duper detailed. The UI didn't seem like it. Maybe they wanted to hide some stuff or keep it very quick for the trailer. That's kind of the thing that I've seen that I was kind of like, are there presets, or are these people kind of created in a way where you're able to have a plethora of options? They do have weight, walk style, skin tones, and body types, which is actually pretty cool. With that being said, that shows me the attention to detail. I think the attention to detail is very cool for Starfield to have walk types, because I don't think Skyrim, Fallout 4, I don't think none of the Bethesda games had walk style. So that kind of does show you the amount of realism you can put in your character from how they look to how they walk. I also seen that the clothing looks super duper dense. So many outfits that I've seen in those trailers that might be something amazing. It could be great, it could be like cool, but Bethesda has always did their thing with character customization. I hope they fixed it on Fallout, because Fallout, you couldn't really get every single thing off a person, which kind of killed it. I know Skyrim, you could take anything and everything or whatever somebody wore, you could just take it. So that's pretty cool. Also, that I've seen in the trailers is the traits do dictate the storylines and the gameplay. As he walked and he said, oh, you're a diplomat, it might be useful. So that way, hopefully it's not just a placeholder in the script. Hopefully they play off of those traits. The last thing that I want to talk about is the modding community when it comes to the pros, because in the modding community, I've seen the game, I've seen how the modding community works, especially from Skyrim, and how completely different my game looks and actually can compete with AAA games as far as graphics are concerned. So the modding community is huge when it comes to this game, and I'm so glad that we're able to use those things for Starfield, because I know Ty Howard does appreciate the modding community. He does have mods that he likes. He's not opposed to them, unlike Cyberpunk 2077, where certain things, certain people, you were kind of limited. Granted, some things should be limited, but when it comes to gaming, when you have a game that has zero limits, you're pretty much able to have fun in whatever way, shape, or form. Skyrim, I could turn it into a Thomas the Train game to a ultra realistic looking game, overhauling every character. That was a beauty. That was a super huge beauty that I've noticed when it came to Skyrim modding. Also, when it comes to the modding community, the custom ships could be amazing. They could add in Star Wars, Star Trek, Interstellar, all the sci-fi games. They could implement those kind of textures and implement those ships and implement the small details and tweaks and the clutter inside of your spaceship, which I think could be amazing, because the modding community always shows me that they kill it every time. It's very interesting to see what the modding community can do with such a huge and ambitious game. All right, and that wraps up the pros of why I think Starfield is the best game ever made, or is going to be the best game ever made. From the dialogue to the customization to the super vast worlds to the implementation of the modding community when it comes to basically zero limits to what we can do. I understand and I do know that people say, or they try to relate back to Bethesda's recent game Fallout 76, which was kind of an MMO. Me personally, I don't think they took that game serious. I think they wanted it to be an experience for people to be able to experience Fallout 4 in an online kind of space, in a lone survival-esque kind of space. But that will be for the next video, when I talk about the cons of Starfield and how it might be the best game ever made, or it could be the worst game ever made due to so many ambitions. Stay tuned for that video. I want to say thank you all for 816 subs. We are growing. We're going to the level that we need to be, and hopefully Starfield and the Starfield community puts us even more on that spectrum. Thank you.